Hello, barbecue enthusiasts. It is Sunday, February 7th, 2021 or 2020. I can't tell the difference. And I'm also reminded that today is the day of a popular sporting event. I'm not a sports fan, and if I had been, I probably wouldn't be any longer, but I'm going to make a prediction anyway. I'm guessing the squad with the sharpest uniforms is going to win in a tie-breaking cage match with a score of, let's say 10 pins plus the next 2 balls. So place your bets. So what do we have going on here today? Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, I had made a video comparing an insulated firebox on this pit, actually, to a similarly configured pit without an insulated firebox. And I've since gotten a couple of questions and comments, some about the other pit we're using today, and another comment indicating that it wasn't really a fair comparison because the 2 pits were not identical. And that's fair enough. They weren't identical, but lucky is the guy who can afford to buy 2 identical pits, one with and one without an insulated firebox, just for the sake of making a YouTube channel. But I thought I'd do something just for the fun of it today. I'm going to compare this pit in horizontal offset with an insulated firebox to a vertical offset without an insulated firebox. And as before, I'm just doing some ribs. I kind of consider ribs the benchmark, kind of the quintessential barbecue food. Those are just about ready to get wrapped. And what you're looking at here is a Yoder Frontiersman. And on the other end of the portico is a Lone Star Grillz vertical offset without an insulated firebox, albeit with a firebox crafted from 1/2-inch steel. That was an option that was available at the time. And in this pit, 3 racks of ribs also. Set a little bit higher up so they'd be the same distance from the heat management plate, or the tuning plates in this case, as the other pit. I got another one up here just because this side of the pit tends to run a little hot, so I'm just trying to keep them even. Again, these are getting ready to wrap. In fact, I need to do that right now. We'll catch up a little later. So it's a little later, the sun's dipped below the horizon over there, and I kind of forgot what I had recorded earlier. I got interrupted by a couple of camera problems, then a car driving by on the road, and then a telephone call. So I'm not sure what I conveyed before and what I didn't. So, but I'm back at the pit here, wrapped the ribs a couple hours ago. This is on the Frontiersman. It's starting to get a little flop to them. I have another hour and a half yet. I did put a pan of water in this pit, and the other pit will contain water, so I put some water in there as well. So anyway, if I didn't mention it before, this is just for fun. Apart from getting into a reverse flow or anything like that, as far as a live fire pit, these 2 pits are about as disparate as you can get. You've got the insulated firebox once again, horizontal offset, and the other pit, a vertical offset with an uninsulated firebox. And I haven't done anything differently than I would normally do in this cook. I'm just shooting for the best results on both pits. I just happen to put them on this shelf back here. The only reason for that is this end of the pit is easier to clean than the front end. This plate comes out where it doesn't over here, so that's why we're on this end. And back at the Lone Star Grillz, these ribs got wrapped at the same time as the ribs on the other side. They're starting to get a little flop in them too. After I wrapped them, I put in another grate and put some chicken thighs down here. They're not part of the taste test. One thing I did do a little differently than the last time I compared ribs on an insulated versus an uninsulated firebox is I just marked them with a U, I believe, and an I to tell them apart, and we know which racks were which. Obviously, I'm going to know which racks are which. But this time I've marked underneath On this pit, the ribs are marked with an A. On the Frontiersman, they're marked with a 1. And my wife is not going to see those. It's going to be kind of a blind test. And I had hoped to have another judge here. My buddy, who is also not a sports fan, visiting from out of state, realized today was Super Bowl Sunday and his family had a bunch of stuff planned around that, so he had to cancel with us so he could spend time with his family. I don't blame him for that, but we're going to be short a judge tonight, so I'm going to know which racks are ribs or which, but Michelle isn't, so we'll see what happens. Again, just for fun. Okay, so these are A, off of pit A. Anybody who's watched the video knows which pit that is. I know which pit that is. And these are from pit 1. Visually, they look pretty good. I've had a beer.
They look the same visually.
Visually, they look pretty good. Got a smoke ring all the way to the bone, it looks like. You're going to have to try a bite from each one, or two, as many as you like. Again, we're on A.
A.
Since Kevin made up some cock and bull about having to watch the Super Bowl with his family to get out of tasting a rib tonight.
I like them both, but I think one.
One?
I think one.
Interesting. See if I can do this without smacking this time. Last time we did this. This is one. That was A. This is one. I'm going to have to go in for another bite. I'm thinking I might have to agree with you.
They're pretty darn close.
Yeah, the flavor profile is almost identical. It is different, but I can't say I like one more than another. Very interesting. Yeah, going back and forth. I mean, they both taste really good. I mean, there's not much difference between either one of them. I think this one seems to taste just a little smokier, maybe. A. I don't know, too close to call.
It is too close to call.
I know when we did this 2 or 3 years ago, between the Frontiersman and the Marshall, the difference is striking. So we can say that the insulated firebox on the Yoder compared to the uninsulated firebox on the Lone Star Grillz. Just a hair's breadth difference.
Not much.
Not much. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Kevin, for not being the tiebreaker. I did go ahead and make some ribs for him too, so he can take those home to the family. Anyway, well, that was about as worthless as any of my other videos. Have a dandy day.